Clip 1. When Caitlin Clark, often referred to as the WNBA's Golden Goose, took a seat for an interview with Sue Bird, few could predict the seismic ripple it would send through the league. In that pivotal moment, Clark didn't just offer a casual remark or a frustrated opinion. No, she delivered a carefully calculated challenge to the very authority of the WNBA. This wasn't a spontaneous outburst. It was a well-thought-out power play, one that would completely change the way we view both the WNBA and its officiating. I'm Jackson Riley, and what I've uncovered about Caitlin Clark's strategic timing and her incredibly calculated approach will alter how you understand not only her comments on officiating, but also the broader power structures within professional sports. What happened during that interview wasn't just a passing moment. It was a pivotal turning point, a marker for a new era of player advocacy and league accountability. Clark's challenge was no random act of defiance. It was a culmination of careful planning, timed to perfection. It forced everyone, from league executives to the media, to take notice. It wasn't just a complaint. It was a strategic push that threw the league's authority into question and made fans, players, and insiders alike rethink the balance of power within the WNBA.
Honestly, I have the first injury and I sit out 4 games and then I come back and I play really well.
Yeah.
And I feel really good. And like, even this beginning of the year, like I played great. Like I started the year really good. Like I felt really great. Like my numbers were great. I was shooting the ball well. And then I get hurt and it's like, okay, like you got to get healthy, whatever. You're like, I'm going to do whatever I can, to get back to what I was doing.
Ticket sales are like up across the WNBA, and then and they're also, when you don't play, there's a dip, like a substantial dip. So how does it impact your patience? You know what I mean? Like you're coming back from this injury and you know this, everybody knows this, that when you play that changes.
Yeah.
I guess the better question is, how are you managing it?
The moment Clark spoke those words, I wouldn't miss a call. It wasn't just an offhand comment. No, it was a sound of institutional pressure mounting in real time. As her words echoed through the digital sphere, a massive shift began to occur. The WNBA's carefully cultivated image of authority and control over its officials suddenly came under fire. But here's the problem. Most other sports media outlets missed it. While they focus on injury timelines and minor aspects of the interview, they completely overlooked the magnitude of what Clark was really saying. This wasn't just trash talk. This wasn't some player venting in frustration. This was a carefully calculated, meticulously timed challenge to the WNBA's officiating system. Caitlin Clark had made a statement that was going to be impossible to ignore. What I'm about to show, you might just blow your mind. Hit that subscribe button now, because what we're about to uncover goes far deeper than what anyone else is covering. Clark's critique was more than just about the referees. It was about power, influence, and control over the future of the league itself. The timing of this statement could not have been more strategic. It landed right at the height of the WNBA's worst officiating crisis in years, a time when public outcry was already at its peak. This wasn't just a coincidence. It was a targeted attack aimed at shaking the foundation of the league's structure. But let's dive deeper. We're going to start with the context, because what happened in that Sue Bird interview didn't happen in isolation. The WNBA was already reeling from months of criticism surrounding its officiating. Multiple players had publicly aired grievances about referees. Coaches were being fined for speaking up, and Commissioner Kathy Engelbert made a highly controversial statement that no winning team ever complains about officiating. The backlash from that comment ignited social media and created a perfect storm. Enter Caitlin Clark, who had been sidelined for months with an injury but had been quietly observing, analyzing the game from a distance. She knew exactly what was going on and saw an opportunity to call attention to a serious issue. And so, she chose the most powerful platform possible, Sue Bird's podcast, which has become a premier outlet for WNBA revelations. With the perfect platform and the perfect timing, Clark delivered what I'm calling the calculated challenge.
Part has just been the stop and go of everything.
Yeah.
And also with the type of injuries that I've dealt with, there's no real, it's not 6 weeks. All right, you're coming back for the Connecticut Sun game on August
all about how you
30th
feel in the
or
moment.
whatever. It's how do you feel? And even when I have been back, like, I don't know how I'm going to feel the next day after playing, like when you're dealing with like these type of injuries. So I think just like the patience of dealing with all of that and giving myself a lot of grace and just try like see people continue to show up and like for my teammates, whether they're like fans of the Fever or just fans of myself, like they're continuing to show up and support. And like, that's why I've been trying to take as much time as I can. Like I sign autographs for way longer when I'm hurt than when I'm active.
Yeah.
So, that's never something I like wish for, but like, you know, I still want to make as much time as I can for people and, you know, give them something that they can remember.
Her basketball IQ gave her words weight. She'd studied film. She knew exactly what a foul looked like, understood positioning and contact better than most players out there. This wasn't heat of the moment frustration. It was calculated truth. From the sidelines, she'd watched her.
Let's talk about Clark's basketball IQ. Her understanding of the game goes beyond the basics. She doesn't just play basketball. She dissects it. She analyzes it down to its finest details. That's why her comments carried so much weight. This wasn't a player ranting out of frustration. No, this was a player who had studied the game, who understood the nuances of every call, every foul, every positioning of the players. She knew how officials should operate, and she knew when things were being mishandled. What Clark said wasn't some heat-of-the-moment frustration. It was deliberate, it was calculated, and it was powerful. From the sidelines, where she had been recovering from injury, Clark had been watching, analyzing, and quietly building a case against the system. And when the moment came, she delivered a perfect blow. I'd make a good ref. I wouldn't miss a call. That line wasn't just a snarky comment. It was a direct challenge to the integrity of the league's officiating system, aimed right at the heart of the WNBA. But what makes this so much more impactful than just a typical complaint is the timing. Clark wasn't just shooting from the hip. She had been observing for months. She understood the flaws in the system, and she was armed with the knowledge to back up her words. Her critique wasn't random. It was a laser-focused strike at a vulnerable system. And the timing? Impeccable. Here's where the real power shift begins. Her words didn't just resonate. They immediately sent shockwaves through the league. As her comments spread across social media, the temperature of the online conversation shifted. Fans started rallying around Clark. Hashtags like #ClarkWasRight began trending, and the conversation took on a life of its own. For the first time, Caitlin Clark wasn't just a player on the court. She had become the unofficial voice of the WNBA's officiating debate, and the WNBA had no idea how to respond.
Well, like, I'm going to go to every road game no matter what, like whether I'm playing or not. Like, and it's hard because obviously I do feel this like responsibility of like being out there and playing and like, not that I like think there's like a fear of any of this ever going away. Like that doesn't happen when like LeBron or Steph get hurt. Like they're always going to be there.
No,
like,
they'll
you
be
know,
back.
yeah, exactly. So, but like you do want to play, like you want to give people something to cheer about or scream about, or, you know, people spend so much time and money and resources. So it's been really good for me too, is like when I do go out before games and like sign autographs and like see all the young kids or fans or whoever's come to the games, like it just like gives me a really good perspective on everything and maybe gives me a little bit of motivation and just being thankful for everything that I have, like, and very thankful for like my fans and just the fans of the WNBA of like how they can constantly continue to support and truly just want the best for me too at the end of the day. Like,
Clark's comparison of herself to LeBron James and Stephen Curry is more than just a statement of confidence. It's a strategic declaration of her influence. She knows exactly how much leverage she has, and she's not afraid to use it. By making this comparison, she's positioning herself not just as a star player, but as someone who can shape the future of the league. And that's what makes her challenge so significant. She's not just advocating for herself. She's setting a new standard for player advocacy in a league that has often struggled to protect its stars. Clark wasn't just challenging the referees. She was challenging the very system that allowed the officiating issues to persist. And it wasn't just the referees who took notice. League insiders were quietly scrambling behind the scenes. Some were reportedly suggesting they pull Clark aside and ask her to keep her opinions behind closed doors, while others feared that trying to silence her would backfire. The truth is, Clark was never the type to quietly accept pressure from the league. She wasn't going to play nice, and everyone knew it. Now, when Clark returned to court, all eyes were on her. The focus wasn't just on her health. It was on how the refs would treat her. The first time Clark drove to the basket, took contact, and didn't get a foul call, the fans went wild. The camera zoomed in on Clark's face, capturing that trademark smirk she wore during the interview, now aimed directly at the officials. This moment wasn't just about basketball. It was about power.
How much I was getting pressured. Like, it was just like constant full court.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I think as the season went on, like, that chilled out as much. Like, it's hard to like want to do that an entire season. Like, teams like, you don't want to pick up 94 feet the entire season like that. Like, it's just been so challenging, like being active and playing 4 games and then not, and like not feeling the best, and then like frustrated of like how hard I worked in the off season, and then like all I do is rehab and like continue to do this process. And just like trying to trust that the best I can.
Clark's admission about being systematically targeted isn't just a story about physical defense. It's a story about institutional failure. The WNBA failed to protect one of its most valuable assets. They failed to recognize the vulnerability of their golden goose. But the most interesting part of this isn't just about the physical toll it took on Clark. It's about how she used her experience to strategically push for institutional change. As Clark dealt with unprecedented pressure on the court, she was also laying the groundwork for a larger movement, a movement that goes beyond just the WNBA. It's part of a broader trend where athletes are demanding more accountability from the institutions that depend on them. Clark didn't just complain about missed calls. She was creating a case for institutional reform, and the results speak for themselves. By the end of the first week back, hashtag supporting Clark's critique had generated millions of views. The WNBA had no choice but to address it. They couldn't afford to ignore the problem any longer.
And like, you're very, very motivated, and like you're close to the finish line of getting back and being back. And then like, it's not like I have a training camp to like build up to like playing my first game again. It's like, no, like you're tossed into game 30, like go try to play well. Like, it's hard. Like, it really is. And I think it has given me really good perspective on like what a lot of my teammates and people that teams I've been a part of, like certain people have had to go through. Like, I've never been through why it's been so hard, because like I've never really dealt with injury. And that's probably been a challenge in itself, because like when I first like was feeling pain, like I didn't understand it. Like, I didn't know. I was like, am I just tight? Like, am I just getting old? Do I need to hit a stretch? Do I need to get like a little rubbed out? Do I need some icy hot? Like, what's going on here? So I think it's been a balance of like understanding my body.
Yeah.
And I know, like, whether it's this year, whether it's next year, and even throughout my career, I'm going to be very.
Clark's vulnerability, being thrown into Game 30 without proper preparation, highlights a deeper issue: institutional negligence. The league wasn't just failing to protect Clark. They were failing to protect their entire roster of star players. And that's where Clark's challenge becomes even more significant. It's not just about her. It's about every player who feels overlooked, undervalued, or mistreated by the system. The changes that are starting to take shape now are being driven by fans, players, and corporate interests alike. Broadcast partners are pressuring the WNBA to implement stronger protection protocols for Clark, recognizing that her health and safety are directly tied to the league's bottom line. This is the kind of institutional validation Clark's critique has received, and it's just the beginning of a larger conversation about how the WNBA and all professional sports leagues treat their stars.
Because early in the season, we were just so inconsistent. And if teams were to do that, we would normally lose those games. But it just shows that we're getting closer. We're trusting each other. And I think that's the biggest part, is trusting and knowing that we can win those games, even if they.
Some chance in the WNBA this season to take care of business in a winning streak like this. What does that sort of say about how this team's come together?
Yeah, Seattle's a great team, great team, and it's hard to play here. And so we knew that. We knew that they just came off kind of a bad loss against LA. And so they were hungry for a win. But for us, it's not about other teams. It's about our standard. It's about stacking the days. And I think that where our mental's at as a team and as individuals, we're in a really good spot. And, it's not going to be easy moving forward. But I think today we stayed true to the scout. We trusted the offense. Kelsey has been having a hell of a season. She was a little bit off, but she facilitated for us offensively down the stretch. And it just shows that everyone has something to give, even if your scoring's not going to be there. But I don't know,
Clark didn't just spark a change in officiating. She sparked a change in how players will be treated and respected by the institutions they serve. What we're seeing now is the beginning of a permanent shift in power dynamics, one where players no longer just accept the status quo. They challenge it, they demand more, and they're using their influence to create real change. So what's next for Clark? And for the rest of the players who are watching? If Clark succeeds in forcing institutional changes through strategic public pressure, she will have established a new template for player power that extends far beyond basketball. The question is no longer if other players will follow her lead. It's when. This is just the beginning. If Clark successfully reshapes the league's approach to player protection and advocacy, she will have done more than just challenge officiating. She will have changed the way the entire league operates, and in doing so, she will have rewritten the rules of player power in professional sports.